Welcome, it's the Crypto Sniper. Yes, glad to be with you. It's coming up to only a couple of days left, shoplifting days left before Christmas and the artificial tree and all that you do. Yes, must conspicuously consume, buy tats, Chinese-made plastic tat, throw it away after the new year. Anyway, glad to be with you on this key moment. Love you. Thank you for all the additional subscribes. We have gone through 50,000 on our Crypto Sniper YouTube channel. We are knocking on 75 on the Market Sniper. What's happening? You guys are loving us. Long time. We love you. Long time. Straight back. Okay, what am I going to discuss today? We're going to talk about a thought exercise. And it's one I've been discussing inside the community for quite an extended period. Because here's the thing. The game of the alt and the crypto, the larger crypto cycle is getting out right. Now I'm noticing this cycle more than any other, the general fat lump of the normal curve that's been in crypto before, done at least one cycle. Many of you have been with us and done actually 2 or 3 cycles. Realize it's about selling at the right time, otherwise you ride it all down. By the way, when I first started in 16 and 17, I felt like the only guy who said that. Everybody was hodl. It was all Bitcoin and hodl. And then there'd be this occasional short little super spurt of alts, then everyone would be alt merchants, and then they would be hodl of whatever that altcoin was. And we watched the names of the day become huge stars and then wither into nothingness. I can think of them all. Whatever happened to BSV, the real Bitcoin? Whatever happened to all of these tokens of previous cycles? No, the key thing, friends, is not sitting 4 years out and getting washed out and watching 90% to 95%. In some instances, we've got cryptos that lost 99% plus of what they were worth from their all-time high. The key value is selling right. Everything else is vaporware. You have made no money until you have materially secured that profits. That's the difference between unrealized and realized. No money has been made until it is realized, which means you have sold and got out. Not to get back in half an hour later because you're missing the dopamine of the big old hit. You have to understand you are trained to be a victim of dopamine, and not being in feels like you don't have a bet and you're at the horse races on, and there's a donkey that's on 100 to 1 and you didn't get to put a fiver on his name. And that's the key thing. Nobody wants to be at the horse races without a punt, and you feel you're a non-punter at the horse races. Actually, that is such a difficult psychological thing to overcome. You truly need the benefit of a community, the understanding, and many of us need multiple experiences of washout before we truly appreciate this. So one of the biggest questions, and this video aims to address, what is the big question this video aims to address is roughly from a timing perspective, because people don't know price. You could have a super spike. You could have a moderate bull move. Last bull run was actually, for many alts, didn't make new highs. They didn't even surpass the previous highs. We will be mentioning XRP. It was one of them. We will also be mentioning XLM. It was one of them that didn't make new highs. So you had a bit of an unders experience on the alt run of last time. It just didn't quite happen. Despite just before the bull market properly happening, a CV19 event that saw the big dip for our first cup gold nugget, the low 2, before you eventually broke up and made the 64 followed by the 69 after a 50% pullback on Bitcoin. And what was my scenario casting about what could happen this time and when to sell? So here was a real interesting post. I'm going to go to the screens and look at Vandal, shown up on his program a number of times. Good guys, truly focused, particularly on the XRP side, which is going to be really interesting, which is where we're kind of focused too. We're there for the macro technical. We see it in the charts. He's there because he's done the fundamental research and the deep dive. So it's great getting the story fill-ins and the updates from a reliable source. So shout out to the Black Swan capitalists of Vandal and Versan, I think it is. I'm never sure if I say the name correctly. Correct me later, Versan. When is the altcoin peak, he asks. And this is a great question. When is the altcoin peak? Historically, most altcoins peak 500 to 546 days, and we've done this analysis ourselves inside the community with charts, how many days, little bit of draws, da-da-da-da-da. And actually, we've dropped the mention in our YouTube channel already before on 1 or 2 YouTubes that in and around September, October is typically where we would expect it to be as per previous halving cycles of Bitcoin. And this is a very dominant part of this discussion, and I'm going to throw a ball into the mix and say maybe it's different this time. A very dangerous thing, by the way, to say maybe it's different. So secure your don't like that. Why you say that? Secure your hate. I want to hear your comments in the video below when you've heard all I've got to say, but maybe listen first. And you may get a couple of ideas. So he's pointed out November 12, 546 days later, July, 500 days, 2020, 500 days, etc. What to expect. This is the roadmap. So if you have a look at the altcoin peaks relative to Bitcoin halvings, 500 days, or 546 days from when the halving occurred. So going forward, you're essentially looking at August, September, October of 2025. Now, a lot of people have been coming to that conclusion. And here's the thing. Normally, by the time you've worked out the riddle, that's when the riddle changes. You see, things rhyme. They are not exactly perfectly predictable. They rhyme. And what could cause variations to that? So here's what I said to Vandal with regards to a couple of reasons why it could be different this time. You see, a lot of what you just saw was based on the Bitcoin halving. The element of Bitcoin was the bulk, the elephant in the room of crypto. And, you know, in the early years, that was 100% true, especially in terms of market cap. It has been 90% plus in many instances. As we've warned on, it's reduced a little bit, but it has been the dominant token. The element of BTC supply changes. So I also want to talk about two things with surrounding Bitcoin. The supply aspect. Each time it's called the halving because the supply halved. Now, what's eventually happened is if you do a quick grok on how much of Bitcoin has actually now been issued, of the total 100%, that being 21 million in coins being issued out, 94% of it is already issued. So what's actually happening is the halving is of an ever diminishing supply. It's like a snail crossing the brick and doing only half what it did the previous day. The first day you do a whole bunch, you've done half the brick. The next day you do a quarter of the brick. The next day you're doing an eighth. In fact, you never quite get there. You tend and you trend towards the final brick valuation, but actually each movement gets ever smaller. And what that means is the supply changes become ever less significant in terms of, we've had a massive cut in the amount of Bitcoin supply. Most of the Bitcoin that is going to be mined has already been mined, 94%. Hello, that's most of it. You're talking about 6%. Now I can tell you, probably more's been lost, fallen down the couch, on computers in dumps, USB, more's been hacked, stolen, MicroStrategy, ETFs, the future, US Reserve under Drumpf. That's right. He's going to become and be the backstop buyer to save Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy. The digital on-ramp, he's going to come in. These are going to turn out to be larger holdings, and what's going on with their buying, selling, and holdings, and what was lost is going to be a far more significant number than this ever minuscule change in supply as it continues to get less and less and less. So how much do we have to care about the snail that's done half what it did each day after 10 halves? It's barely moving. I ain't sitting there and watching it doing half of what it did the day before after 4 or 5 days in a row of doing ever less. So in short, markets, remember, are a future discounting mechanism. So in actual fact, my anticipation is that the markets are already pricing the Bitcoin market as if there's no significant new supply, as if it's all out there. Most of it is above ground. It's a bit like gold, dare we say. Gold only brings about 1.5% of fresh new gold into the system. Actually, the real gold is already above ground in vaults with central banks. Some of them, anyway. Some of them pretend, but whatever. Let's not go down that little hole too soon. In short, who's selling? If a major central bank is selling, it's almost more significant than how effective miners have been in bringing in fresh supply. So there's that. So what we are talking, the thesis we are putting forward is that Bitcoin's supply issue is getting ever more negligible, and the market is a forward discounting mechanism, whether you are or not. And it is already pricing for the eventuality that actually very little fresh is coming into the market. That means basically that the halvening as a concept is becoming ever less significant in terms of meaningful supply, and that price discovery is being pursued by resales of existing Bitcoin and big buyers and how long they intend to hold, which obviously soaks up a lot of potential supply and creates a great deal of demand. The second thing I'm going to make clear is that in actual fact, technically, and I'm going to come back to this when we revert to the charts, but technically, as we are going into a new world digital system, and I kind of introduced the normal curve last time, and I'm said adoption. We are getting into the early adopter. You are very early adopters. You're not original gangsters unless you're sort of 2009 to 2013, 14. But by being from 15, 16 to probably about now, you're still in the early adopter, but becoming more mainstream early. So then you're early centrist of that normal curve. We're going to get a much larger wall of money coming in. And it started with my second point, the mainstream making of political acceptance and the embracement of crypto, digital IDs coming, blockchain, hash graph databases, and the registry, in other words, tokenization of assets. All of this already developed, but slowly starting to get snuck out and rolled out. This theory has suddenly found a great deal of support politically by Monsieur Drumpf, and he pivoted from being pro-dollar and being largely indifferent to Bitcoin or anything that undermined the dollar to suddenly finding this new love. And of course, he's just the figurehead, his handlers and the dark state legacy family behind him who advise the handlers that then ensure his message changes. He's being used as the pivot for it's time to be at the forefront of the technological revolution. And by the way, you should check out as part and parcel of YouTube, you should also check out Vandal's video on who's behind Ripple, and the fact that tech, statists, CIA, NSA, XRP, all of these things are deeply intertwined. The PayPal Mafia, Palantir, Peter Thiel, Musk, all of these individuals and character are overlapping. Let's just be clear, guys. They, you know who I refer to when I say they, will never let you have your own money. They cannot, for their power base to be retained, ever allow you to have a money system that they do not control. And for the third time, said a third time in a different way, they cannot entrench their power over you if they were to allow you to have your own freedom money system. Every money system that is being proposed is entirely captured. They have laid the foundations and control it and surveil it. You can see our friend Brad Garlinghouse over here. This is a little bit of a sidebar. There's Brad of Ripple in there. By the way, all these guys, FinTech Office, IMF, Jesse Cheng, IMF FinTech Council, used to work for Ripple. You know, you get that sort of farmer FDA vibe, rotating door, worked in the FDA, then suddenly gets a directorship at Pfizer. You know the vibe. they get to work the system. Call up an old pal for lunch. We need this drug going through, etc., etc. Look at these other, apart from Agent Orange, Christine Lagarde. Here you have Benedict Nolan's FinTech Association of Hong Kong and Finance. Chief FinTech Officer here over there at the back. CEO Luxembourg, House of Financial Technology. Bradley J. Can't even see. Wakirachen, CEO of KUNT. That's what it looks like. KOUNT, I should probably say. Vikram Haskar, Chief of Advanced Economics and Multilateral Surveillance Issues Division, IMF. Now, does that sound anything like a freedom system for you? Let me just say this guy's name, his job role again for you. Vikram Haskar, Chief of the Advanced Economics and Multilateral, lateral is sideways, all far-reaching, multi is vast and many, Surveillance Issues Division. Surveillance issues. And you wonder why I use the name, your future surveillance financial system. Here's the guy in the IMF who's making sure that all things can all be seen by the all-seeing eye. That is him. David Hardsdoon, Chief Data Officer. So he's just data. That's almost common. By the way, Chief Technology Officer and Architect. The Clearing Corporation, Managing Director, Patrick McKirky-Cooley, LLP, the Bitcoin Foundation, not captured, Bitcoin not captured, just standing here with all the IMF and the surveillance CEO, multilateral. Okay, bro, okay, have another one, keep on going. So this is where you're at. This is the system. So small little point as we moved away from our tweet around who and why and what is going on. It is all statist, friends. It is all statist. The mainstream making, they are now having, these jobs didn't just get created yesterday, by the way. They've been in existence for years whilst they were saying crypto bad, crypto bad. In the IMF, in all of these places, these guys were laying the rails, making sure they can see everything, surveillance, etc. So we are now you get to be told it's okay to own crypto now. It's now being mainstreamed. It was bad. Buy AK-47s, take out hits. Oh, it's okay. It's good. There's ETF. Look, BlackRock saying you should have 1 to 2% at minimum. It's a similar to having tech stocks, etc., etc., etc. Oh, all the Swiss bankers at the very top, the CEO, it's time for you to start considering the unthinkable and having these investments. Wall of money is being prepared. And that's why I said when I divided that normal curve into quartiles where the 50% is the peak, and I said adoption from left to right, you are in the second quartile. The tail has very little in volume. Long time, 2009 to 2016. In terms of the money that's come in, very little. It's all been small. It's taken a while. Bitcoin's still only sub 2 trillion market cap at the moment, and that's the digital gold, and the whole shooting match is probably still well sub 4. By all means, this is small beer, given that it is a replacement financial system for the current existing one, for which digits in the banking system computers run into hundreds of trillions, and some say in the derivative section you're going to go into quadrillions plus. Okay, so small. The second quartile is, in a much shorter time, a far taller Manhattan under that normal curve up to the halfway mark, where Joe Mainstream buys his first crypto for the very first time. Mr. 50%, IQ 105, lives probably in America, blue collar worker, middle management. That guy, first time, first crypto. He's the middle line. Bang! there you are. You've got to get to that point, and there's a wall of acceleration that's going to make it very hard for Joe Middle America, blue collar guy, to buy his first crypto, because he's got to feel he's being left out. Wall of money. And that's going to lead everything in the news to be saying some are saying new financial system, some are saying it's America's way out of the debt collapse, some are saying, and then everybody going, okay, there's a debt collapse. Okay, it's okay to talk about reset now, as long as you're doing pumpermental into the new system and whaling in and helping inflate it into Jupiter's size. Now it's okay to talk about reset. Now it's okay to talk about bankruptcy in the debt system. But we have a Bitcoin strategic reserve. But we have XRP, and it's going to be super hyper valued. So that's going to be an asset that's going to countervail the massive debts we have, etc., etc., etc. Here goes the mainstream making and political acceptance and embracement of crypto digital ID. So what are we talking about? I'm doing a lot of talking, but I want to just remind you, these 2 points are me answering to Vandal why it might be different this time. Remember that danger word? You said, it's different this time. Don't say that. Don't say that. It can be, because everybody's just working out the old system. That's usually when the pattern changes. It's usually when the pattern changes. So we've covered Bitcoin supply becoming an ever greater irrelevance. That starts to undermine the nature of the halving cycle. Then you're talking about the mainstream making a massive Manhattan of money in a much shorter time frame got to come in. Well, you get a super cycle. You get a super cycle. And when you get a super cycle, things go up faster, harder, even though their market caps are higher than they were in 2010, 11, 12. Most alts are actually well after that. Even XRP, I think the earliest chart you get from 2013, even though the company existed before. Yes, stuck with all the usual tech, surveillance, NSA, PayPal Mafia, you name it, all of that crowd, they were all around this in the beginning. It is your new digital prison system. But all that said, you can either be an owner in NVIDIA that recognizes it's not for your long-term good, it's going to be the server farms, it's going to be the biometrics and everything, and at least make the money, or you can stay out and say, I resist, I will not participate, I will be inert, stay poor, and watch these things happen anyway without you, because they control the main flows of money, and the main flows of money will be enough through asset managers, hedge funds, institutions, nation states. Geez, the Swiss National Bank has been invested in Apple, Microsoft, the tech revolution. You guessed it. They are just one mega institutional status hedge fund for the people of Switzerland. They've been in there. Okay, so you think it's not going to go up because you're holding back your piddly little pension into going into this? Make the money. This is not a place. I take moral stands against the system. You don't fight it here. You don't fight it here. You fight it with resources and your freedom. You have to be in the matrix to pull down the matrix. You have to buy yourself some freedom. These certain things are going to happen anyway, regardless of whether you choose to participate. It is what we refer to as the FU hold your nose trade. And XRP is bang in there. Statist, IMF, Agent Orange, the surveillance multilateral guy right there, right here, right now. It's happening, and it's going to happen with or without you. You know, your passivity is just going to make you more like 105 IQ Joe Schmo, ordinary blue collar guy that gets in midstream, because eventually you'll hate hearing about it and knowing it's got to go up. This particular alt market, and I'm thinking of XRP, but there are other statist XRP tokens that we mentioned in other videos, could run and run like an NVIDIA stock, and it has nothing to do with the ever diminishing Bitcoin supply halving that is becoming less and less significant. What's already been mined as supply that is being made available to sell or is being long-term held by the likes of MSTR and other institutional holders is going to become far more significant. Further to which, the proof of work model for the rest of the tokens doesn't even apply directly to them. And here's where we get into the technicals of BTC dominance. What we've actually said is, in short, XRP and other status role players could run like Nvidia stock on what it seems a far longer sustained bull market. You need hundreds of trillion market cap if you're going to do a transactional digitized system going forward in the world, guys. And it needs to parallel run the legacy system, and you need to punish those still in bonds and debts and holding that in their pensions, watch it go down in value till they realize they become sellers. Then you get a potential capitulation in the debt markets. And this is a key point. Normally, risk-off, demand-destroying events, they will cause risk-off. They will see gold sell-off. You'll see silver sell-off even more. They'll see Bitcoin sell-off even more, and alts even more than that. Normal situation. Until, again, he says the danger word, it becomes different. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen in this first event. I could see a demand-destroying event and risk-off happening as it usually does with everything selling off. You've just had an example of Bitcoin. I think people are a bit too bearish short-term now. I think we're going to actually rally on both Bitcoin and XRP. In fact, I have a target through over $3.5, $3.30. But likely to run $3.5, not too far away potentially for XRP. Could be wrong, we'll talk about that more in a bit. But what eventually happens once we've got a bit of greater scale and we've got the first quartile of human beings transacting in the digitized system, and Elon Musk saying, look how cool, look how quick this was, just did a transaction and zap how I paid somebody on the other side of the planet X, it cost me next to nothing and he received it straight away, and all of this is now being woohoo, and everybody's going, awesome Elon, just like your Cybertruck, also awesome, also beautiful, also clever, boom, 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 bosh, and you start to see everyone wailing in, downloading the apps, using the money systems, etc. You could have a super cycle push up. Then when we get the next debt crash, and I do think we do a little bit of a correction on Trump's inauguration, and I would expect that to be initially bearish for crypto, but at some point in the future, as these systems are both established and parallel running, the faster car starts to pull ahead and people are losing, and when you get a debt contagion on the legacy bond market in the slow, old, rickety train, the iron horse, while the monorail is speeding ahead, you will actually get a super surge forward, because you will then get a kick of acceleration from the old rickety train into the new monorail, and actually bad news becomes good news for the new system. Eventually, once mature enough, you get a pivot and a change. Downside in the debt markets, weird stuff in the currencies, a spike in dollar valuation on debt devaluation on the basis that interest rates are going up, all this TradFi gets into real trouble because it's at its death knell. They need to kill that, and people that are slow and late will wear that on their net worths. And people that are early and fast will also wear the benefit of that. In short, the lagging performance, you will see the innovators win. I call them innovators, the early adopters of the new digital prison. And that's how they will incentivize the bridging of everyone from the old system into the new. Old, stayed in their ways, fashioned people who still hold government debt and everyday stocks in their account and hold no crypto, hold no gold, etc., will be crushed by performance until eventually their banks, hedge funds and institutions force the change anyway and are ultimatumized. So eventually you get to the end of the dead railway track where it says die or jump onto the new system. No more option on the parallel run, and that's when you get the worst deal and the lowest valuations, and the sulky old schoolers come across at terrible value and great loss and decimation to themselves as debt instruments. So eventually these ructions and tremors and earthquakes in the debt-based collapse that you are currently seeing as part and parcel of a controlled demolition of the legacy financial system are going to flip and start turning into petrol fuel for the rocket ship that is the new established system. First, it is dictated to by the old system in the same way the Altcoin Peaks is dictated to by the Bitcoin cycle. But eventually Bitcoin which will be the only proof of work token of any great significance, becomes less and less significant by supply and also by percentage market cap, which brings us to the technicals that we have made. I know no one else who's made any predictions, anything like what we've done. I know no one else has made any BTC dominance predictions, full stop. I have started to see people that are posting inverted dominance charts. I wonder where they got the idea. Maybe they did it all by themselves, but overall 23 to 20% dominance on this, and this was a turning, and of course it's choppy. You break the falling wedge, my apologies, you break the falling wedge as was happening here, you break it and you get the return move. That's right, you get the return move, but in actual fact we expect further performance from the alts that will eat more of the new money than Bitcoin. So you're going to get the Bitcoin maxis. They're going to be as mad as hell on this message, and they're going to say to you, Bitcoin is the best, everything else is a SHIT coin. And then you're going to ask them, well, what have you done with your layer 2 solutions that has quantum leaped the speed, the cost of any of these new systems? Why will putting a McLaren engine on the chassis of your Model T Ford actually beat a Porsche Turbo S 2025 model? And they will battle to tell you what technologically has happened to do that. In fact, they are the first, they're going to be likely the slowest, probably one of the most costly, and they're going to fall into the only pot left for them if they survive, which is digital gold, which means rarely moved, stored as basis of value, and it will become a reserve asset. By the way, the very phrase that Drumpf used in terms of starting to engage in Bitcoin. He's not buying it as a fast moving, high volume, low cost transaction rails mechanism. No, my friends, go look at that picture I was showing you that came out of Vandal's video. Go watch his video as well with the IMF. Who's standing with the IMF? You got it. The CEO of XRP. Who else is standing with him? Ex-staff members now working for the IMF. That's right. This has all the FDA and the big pharma. The rails ain't Bitcoin for your fast, transactional, global, quick system. It ain't going to be Bitcoin. It is not the Bitcoin blockchain. At best, you're stuck at digital gold, which is how you're being treated now. And as a result, you're going to be pigeonholed, Bitcoiner maxis, as exactly that, as a value reserve holding. Don't get me wrong. Bitcoin goes up in value. This loss to the 24s, this target range, this is an inverted chart, by the way, so the percentages are going down as you go up here. You are currently sitting in around 58% Bitcoin. Just remember who gave you this call, by the way, and we did it when it was close to 60 and it broke out of here. So that's coming, it's coming, and we warned. One more down leg on an inverted. We did a video in July there. That video is still up. Potentially one more down leg, but then we see a reversal. That's when you started to get the first move on XRP, the first of what I consider to be many. So we are XRP bulls. And we are stating that unlike what everybody's calculating, that peak may not be in the September-October period. The cycle might extend. Like an Nvidia stock, it doesn't wait. It's gone up years and years in a row. It's not waiting for a halving. It's independent. They're buying all the goddamn chips. They've got to inflate that market cap. They've got to smash out those chips ever more powerfully and ever more of them for all the AI farms and your new system. And that will be the same driver for things like the XRP token. Why does some other reducing by market cap significance token that happened to be the Model T Ford first version that is too slow and is not going to be high volume and it's reducing supply have any bearing on when XRP should be going up and for how long? That relationship is breaking down. They sell you a template and people cling to templates. You have to understand things are shifting dynamically all the time. Significance are increasing and decreasing, and they're decreasing in a marked way. And the mainstreaming politically of the crypto, not just Bitcoin, the crypto revolution is the flag of Drumpf telling you, the people, that all the work that's been happening behind the scenes with the IMF, with Carstens, who ate all the pies, and all those other guys, that they are now ready under their new puppet headmaster with all his little handlers around him and the big family saying, okay, start that stage now under our new kid. We are ready. That means a macro inflation. Jupiter does not fit into a basketball. You deflate Jupiter a whole bunch down and you get pumping on that beach ball real quick. And that's the process that's happening. That can mean extended cycle. The logic we are putting towards you is Bitcoin's dominance overall in crypto as a whole is going immensely down. It could go to zero. I'm not calling that. I'm not trying to enrage maxis. It could be cancelled entirely. There's a small percentage of that. I don't think so, but it's a possibility. But the system rails for a new system can be expected to last extensively for at least a generation until they're ready to pull the same stuff all over again with ever greater dominance. And I'm afraid that this being technological, being electronic, it's much easier to update software, it's much easier to inert change. They might not ever have to cancel the creation here. They can continue to improvise, modify and update, just like Android is updated on your mobile device all the time. So in short, a super cycle may apply. The top may not be, as you calculate, 500 to 584 days. You may end up previously forgetting to sell and riding the downhill, and then you could sell too early only to see an exponential moonshoot where you thought $10 was good for you on XRP and it goes to 100. In short, you could take 10% of the next move because that other $90 could happen in 3 months. It could happen in a year. It could do an NVIDIA. It just keeps on trucking ever more, only in a crypto version of NVIDIA, which could be even more extreme. They are in a rush. They want to bring in their new system. They want to dance with their new messiah. They want to brag about the fact that you are already in a new world order, and they are bringing in this global surveillance system, and there will be many other false flags that will curtail your freedom of movement, no doubt, that are all due to come. And this is all going to be happening at an accelerated pace. They are in a hurry to get their digital prison over you. The faster the hurry they are, the only good point that comes out of that is the faster they pump your bags in terms of holding the hold your nose trades. That's right. And XRP is absolutely one of those. And you can expect others like XLM, Ethereum, Quant, Algorand, potentially Link, and a number of others. So huge alt moves that may not top out as expected in the September, October, maybe December period, but you may run into 2026. So how do you play that technically? We have an idea. We have overperformance methodology. We take some off at our targets and we will hold other positions net long. And we have overperformance benchmarks that tell us when the blow-off stage is over. Do you know how we do that? No, but you can find out by jumping onto our mini course below, or even better, getting it as we interpreted the markets through the Book a Call link below. Book yourself a call. It's Christmas, New Year. There will be slots available, obviously not on Christmas Day per se, but just in and around it. This is the year where you should be setting your goals to retire out on doing 1 or 2 great decisions that over the course of this next year make you financially free for the rest of your life, so that you can buy, reset property, get off grid as far as possible, be totally self-reliant on water, power, have all the vehicles, modes of transport that you need, recreation, fresh food supplies from really good sources. All of this could be achieved for an everyday man with maybe a small 6-digit sum, just in the 6 digits, if you play this next year correctly. You are setting your goals for the new year. It's coming. That period between Christmas and New Year, when you're fat of belly and wine of the previous night still swirling around, and you're thinking, how am I going to live? Where am I going? That key moment between Christmas and New Year and the first day thereafter, you're writing your goals down, nailing this key play. that is going to take over a year and might extend, as per this video, according to us, could see you get to your financial freedom such that you are buying your Freedom Ranch with a couple of your family members, maybe distant family members, forming community with good friends that take you away from the excessive status interference that is inferred by the direction that we are moving in. All the criminals are here. The PayPal Mafia, the Peter Thiels, the Palantirs, they've all invested in XRP. Go watch Vandal's video, by the way, for a bit of a fun watch. Great research and pretty level-headedly delivered. A top guy. And trade this to invest and trade this to your future wealth so that you have all that you need for the finishing year. So, in summary, Bitcoin supply element is getting ever more negligible, that which is held already and might be sold or accumulated has more supply-demand dynamic on it. The market is a futures 6 months pricing mechanism that already sees this and will be treating Bitcoin as a negligibly to virtually closed circuit in terms of it's no longer an open fund, it's a closed fund. Everything that needs to be issued is already issued by significance, 94% being largely done. Secondly, its role is not going to be the financial rails of the system, no matter what they do overlaying the chassis of a Model T Ford. It's never going to be a modern Ferrari. In short, it's likely to be pigeonholed in digital gold. Its overall significance as a far bigger system has to be implemented that will actually function as a new financial system with railways and everything that needs to be fast, efficient, instantaneous. Is not going to involve Bitcoin on layer 2s. It's more likely to involve more modern versions that are quicker, have better protocols, and that are more up to date, and have already been introduced and tested by the Bank of International Settlements, the IMF, and all the banker cartels that will never let you have your own money, that have been preparing for this moment, that put all their resources into ensuring that they continue to be the owner of the entire financial system that you function and operate in, because they will never let you have your own money. It is their ultimate power over you. It is their control over you. It is one of the most crucial central points, and people that think they've escaped are deluded fools. These people are multi-generationally aware. They are single-minded focus. Intelligence services, tech services, anything of value that brings anything new is invariably co-opted and captured to entrench the existing powers that be. If you don't understand that, you are in a fool's dilemma, Stockholm syndrome, or you can't cope with the eventuality of that. And therefore you are in some sort of mental dissonance. I can't help you then. My community is probably not for you. Please do not click the link. Please do not book a call. You are not prepared for what you will face if you are in that state of mind. Do not engage further. Just say something horrible in the comments. It's all good. Puke it out. Let it go. Breathe deep. Carry on. Do what you need to do. If you're not in that category, do what you need to do as well for yourself to ensure that you set yourself free for this single year. This could be the biggest year of your life. The extension cycle could go beyond that year. So I could in fact be talking about 8 months, 18 months. It could actually be 2.5 years. If we prove to be correct in our hypothesis that it's possible, it will be different this time. And we will still lock in, if it isn't, to ensure that we do not do terrible, devastating damage and that we do get a very good exit on a timing basis as per the original theory put forward by Vandal. However, we will maximize the overperformance if this difference does manifest as put forward to you. Thank you for watching. XRP, I said it could do 3.5. I think people are a bit too bearish, so I'm just going to show you that as a final look, what I think could happen on the XRP. You've got two impulses here with quite scary sell-off. There was a real capitulation there. You also had the bounce, rising wedge, and spiller over there. However, I will point out that there's a lot of scared money that's been making its way out. It's getting ever lower volatility here. And while you are trading at the 2.2, I think you've claimed the 2. You only had a technical break just below the 1.9. We should have a big bold blue line there on the $2. I don't think you're going to be much below $2 for an extended period. Let's put that line in and just show you how it's a significant level, certainly. And we go 2 and go, okay, that's where it is. You technically ran it twice in real fear and pain. That went with, you guessed it, the hawkish statement by the Fed. That's right, the debt market losing value caused risk off. And I maintain that relationship will hold for a while until we have some real scale and a proper alternative that is being marketed, that many people are already being onboarded, all the early adopters. Later, that pivots to being super bullish as the fast car starts pulling away and leaving all the old fuddy-duddies behind in the legacy system. So there will be a flippening on the effect of risk on, risk off in the traditional market and its effect on the alternative crypto market. As people start to say, you know what, I've started doing this on a small level. Why am I still got 80%, 90% of what I do in the traditional system? Move it over. That wall of money will then cause what's bad for this one to be good for that one. There's a pivot and a flippening to come there in much the same way as we've described for the Bitcoin dominance. So in short, a possible HVF in play here. That high being run, it's at around 238. We would put a stop there, nice hammer for this time frame under review, 4 hours, and that could see you running 3.26. The 1.618 could see you at about 334. So with a real push, you might even trade through the 350 mark, possibly. That's why I had it in mind. And I actually think Bitcoin could rally a little bit from here. So Bitcoin, by the way, to be clear, while we haven't said things particularly enjoyable for maxis to hear, we would see Bitcoin in its becoming this lower percentage still going up, just much less so by degree than the statist peers of the new system. So Bitcoin as well, we think the first sell-off and last sell-off here was super tough. Look, you did break our broadening structure, and we could be wrong on this. So I will cover how you know we're wrong. You got a return move, which can be typical of another sell-off. But when I look at the sell-off so far, it doesn't appear particularly threatening when compared to what went before. So you did return move, the blue square, after breaking the basing ascending grind line of the megaphone. I'll show you that on a bigger time frame in a second. You've returned there. You're going to fall down a bit. This is showing a little bit of broadening, a bit more pushback. The volatility is dying down. You quite possibly could see maybe a little bit of being bought up and coming back into range. That will support the XRP. Again, the alts still rely on Bitcoin not dying for now. Those moments I've described are some point in the future as the dominance reduces towards our target of 20%. It's still at 58%. Please understand. This is not tomorrow. We're talking where the puck is going to be, not where it is now. We play the future. That is the key thing. So if I just show you that on a bigger time frame, let's show you on the 4 hour first of all, and then on the daily. That was the broadening structure. I'm going to just close the volatility index. So you had the strong Trump trade, which was after it broke out of our previous broadening structure. That was a downside upside for continuation upside broadening structure. We can show you that as well. You got the steep move. Since then, you've been grinding up with buying along the lows. And this sell was the first time that you stayed below the lows. You got spiked up there, you got pushed up there, you got pushed up there. This is a healthy correction. This is a healthy correction in my view. It's not just a death knell. Could you run the 86? That would point to a next stage correction. And that would return all the grind and just keep you with the pro-Trump rally part. So you started grinding from about 86. That can still happen. I would expect our XRP setup for the 3.2s, 3.3s would then have failed. So yes, listen, there's a bit of fear out there. And you know, interest rates going up or going less down, sure as hell going to have an effect on the crypto market still for now. there was your overall broadening structure. Let's go up to the daily and just remind you of everything, and we're walking back the history the wrong way around, but that was your key break when you went from 60s up to these levels in and around 86, 89, and then grinded your way home through the 100K with a final push off up there. So this is quite a decent correction. We will see what comes next. A slight feeling that between now and the inauguration, I do feel there could be a bit of wobbly season as Drumpf gets handed his Hail Caesar wreath. But between now and the 20th, you could actually get a little bit of a calming down, the volatility ironing out, some rallies and all of that. That could be perfect for XRP to be an outperformer and potentially make its target. I don't want to be too assumptive of what happens on the 21st of January. It could be time for more wobblies in the world. Our USD Korean won is creeping up, other reasons and other world events, all pretty tenuous. You triggered a lot of events. Go see our Market Sniper video on the USD Korean won, on the breakout of the US 10-year out of a falling wedge, on the yield curves, multiple reversions. Typically, there is something brewing that might not be too far off. That in and of itself, I would expect to still be negative for Bitcoin and the alt market, even more so until we get deeper into the expansion of the alt markets. Okay, thank you for watching. Next year is your biggest year ever. Take action, maximize, build wealth, buy your freedom. That is the message. Links below for the free course, link below for booking a call. Get started, make a change in your life, maximize this to the highest order. Till next time, thank you for watching and sharing. We thank you for also taking us through the 50K mark on the subscribers. Bye for now.
Tired of profit wipeouts and blown accounts from following trade signal groups and other YouTube channels? Looking for a better way to trade, reduce your stress, and minimize your risk? Become a skilled technical analyst and see the charts and markets in a new light using the successfully proven HVF method by Francis Hunt, while being surrounded and supported by a principled, structured, and experienced community. Enjoy a constructive learning environment while practically trading markets, supported by a bespoke platform run through browser and app, specifically designed to teach and engage you whilst learning and growing as the markets move. This is not a Telegram or Slack signal group. All trade ideas are based on a proprietary technical analysis process honed over decades, which is the HVF method, leading to trade ideas with fast-moving breakouts and tight stops, exact entries and exits, nuanced interim considerations, and ultimately, strong rewards. Submissions are graded and scored by Francis for potential high-quality setups, and we provide bespoke tools to help get the job done properly and with precision. Over time and with focused effort, you'll begin to look at charts and price action just like Francis. Community updates every day by Francis and our 3 webinars a week provide a 360-degree approach, which are presented by our experienced team of trade leaders to spot potential trades. We're a community of self-actualized individuals, spanning the globe and active 24/7, 365. The premium community provides a warm, supportive, and cooperative place for people willing to listen, participate, contribute, and to learn. We've changed thousands of traders' lives. Transform your approach to trading now. Transform your life. Book an introductory call with us on the link below.